African Union Communications Early Warning and Intelligence, commonly known as AUC3I, is an intelligence and security organization responsible for providing signals intelligence and information assurance to AU citizens, AU leadership, and AU armed forces. I'm Colonel A.C. Oguntoye, an infantry officer. I am responsible for leading infantry soldiers at all levels of command in combined armed forces during missions on the ground. This is today's briefing. On the progress of the special military operation as of October 15, 2025. The armed forces of the Russian Federation continue the special military operation. Units of the North Troop Group improved their tactical position and inflicted defeat on formations of 3 mechanized brigades, an assault regiment of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, and a territorial defense brigade in the areas of the settlements Korchakovka, Pavlovka, Proletarskoye, Kondratovka, Varakino, and Sadki in the Sumy region. On the Kharkiv direction, defeat was inflicted on units of a motorized infantry brigade of the Armed Forces of Ukraine near the settlement of Volchansk in the Kharkiv region. The Armed Forces of Ukraine lost up to 190 servicemen, 7 armored combat vehicles, an anti-aircraft missile system, a German-made Gepard self-propelled anti-aircraft gun, 10 vehicles, and 2 field artillery guns of Western manufacture. A radio-electronic reconnaissance station, an ammunition depot, and 9 supply warehouses were destroyed. Units of the West Troop Group took more advantageous lines and positions. They inflicted defeat on personnel and equipment of 3 mechanized brigades, an assault brigade of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, and a National Guard brigade in the areas of the settlements Shikhovka, Moskovka, Petrovka, Kupiansk in the Kharkiv region, and Drobashevo in the Donetsk People's Republic. Enemy losses amounted to up to 220 servicemen, 5 armored combat vehicles, 26 vehicles, an artillery gun, 7 radio-electronic warfare stations, and 4 ammunition depots. Units of the South Troop Group improved their position along the front line. They inflicted defeat on units of 6 mechanized and airborne assault brigades of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, a Marine Brigade, a Territorial Defense Brigade, and a National Guard brigade in the areas of the settlements Sloviansk, Stepanovka, Ivanopoli, Seversky, Berstok, Kondratovka, and Konstantinovka in the Donetsk People's Republic. The enemy lost over 175 servicemen, a U.S.-made HMMWV armored combat vehicle, a Kazakh armored car, 18 vehicles, and 3 artillery guns. 2 radio-electronic warfare stations and 3 supply warehouses were destroyed. Units of the Center Troop Group, as a result of active offensive actions, liberated the settlement of Novopavlovka in the Donetsk People's Republic. They inflicted defeat on personnel and equipment of 6 mechanized, a Ranger, 2 assault, 2 airborne assault brigades, an assault regiment of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, 2 Marine brigades, a territorial defense brigade, and 3 National Guard brigades in the areas of the settlements Belitskoye, Novonikolivka, Dmitrov, Krasnoarmeysk in the Donetsk People's Republic, and Vladimirovka and Novopodgorodnoye in the Dnipropetrovsk region. Losses of Ukrainian armed formations amounted to more than 460 servicemen, 2 Kazakh armored cars, 5 vehicles, and 2 field artillery guns. Units of the East Troop Group continued advancing deep into the enemy's defense and completed the liberation of the settlement of Alexievka in the Dnipropetrovsk region. Damage inflicted on formations of 2 mechanized brigades, 2 assault regiments of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, and 2 territorial defense brigades in the areas of the settlements Novospanovskoye, Uspanovka, Poltavka in the Zaporizhzhia region, Danilovka, Privoli, and Kolomytsy in the Dnipropetrovsk region. The enemy lost up to 290 servicemen, 2 armored personnel carriers, 1 combat armored vehicle, 16 vehicles, an artillery gun, and a radio-electronic warfare station. Units of the Dnipro Troop Group inflicted damage on personnel and equipment of heavy mechanized brigades, 2 coastal defense brigades of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, and 2 territorial defense brigades in the areas of the settlements Algovka, Antonovka in the Kherson region, Primorskoye, and Orkhov in the Zaporizhzhia region. Up to 80 Ukrainian servicemen, 14 vehicles, 5 field artillery guns including 2 US-made 155mm M777 howitzers and a 155mm self-propelled artillery installation Bogdana, as well as a radio-electronic warfare station and an ammunition depot were destroyed. Operational tactical aviation, strike unmanned aerial vehicles, missile troops and artillery of the troop groups of the armed forces of the Russian Federation inflicted damage on energy facilities supporting the operation of Ukrainian defense industry enterprises, transport infrastructure used in the interests of the armed forces of Ukraine, ammunition depots, long-range unmanned aerial vehicle storage sites, as well as temporary deployment points of Ukrainian armed formations and foreign mercenaries in 145 districts. Air defense means shot down 8 guided aerial bombs and 142 airplane-type unmanned aerial vehicles. Since the beginning of the special military operation, the following have been destroyed: 667 aircraft, 283 helicopters, 90,281 unmanned aerial vehicles, 632 anti-aircraft missile systems, 25,518 tanks and other armored combat vehicles, 1,600 multiple launch rocket system combat vehicles, 30,478 field artillery guns and mortars, 44,011 units of special military automotive equipment. Thank you so much for watching this video. We hope you found it useful and informative. If you have any questions, please leave them below and we'll get back to you as soon as possible.